In this video, we're going to be creating some background elements like caverns. Now, to do this, we want to make sure that our player isn't going to be interacting with the background elements. So we're going to be creating a new tile map layer for our midground caverns. So we're going to have midground caverns, and then we also have far caverns. So let's go ahead and create a new tile map. To do that, we're going to right-click our grid. We're going to go to 2D Object, and we're going to create another tile map. From here, let's rename this to midground underscore tile map. Basically, anything we paint on this layer is going to be the midground. It's going to show up behind our ground layer. So to get started with this, we have our caverns here, and we have our ground items, and we have our vegetation. Now, if I start painting some caverns, say I were to take this here and just begin painting, this is currently interacting with the ground, and you can see here that it goes in front of the ground. Now, the reason for that is because the active tile map in our tile palette is the ground tile map. What we want to do is actually paint the background. So one of the things that we can do here is, if I hit Control Z to remove it, is let's go ahead and switch to the midground tile map. And now when I paint, it's only on the midground. And you can see here, if I go into the background layer, I am painting, we just can't see it. Now, what if I did want to see where I'm painting? We have a feature in tile map that allows us to focus. And you'll see here on the bottom right of our scene view, there's a focus on button. If you select that and choose tile map, it chooses the active layer. So you can see here that I can now paint our midground, and I can't see any of the other tile sets. I can only see whatever the active tile map is, which is our midground tile map. So it allows me to basically paint an entire background. So I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to go back to focusing on none. And you can see here in our game view that we were able to create this using the focus. So I'm going to go ahead and actually clear everything on this tile map, and we're going to actually create these caverns. So I'm going to take my eraser tool, and if I would like a bigger eraser, what I can do is I can actually drag in the size of the eraser, and now I'll get that square using the palette. So I'm just going to clear this. And to create these caverns, one thing that we're going to do is we're just going to simply we're going to zoom in on them here, and we can take pretty much one half of this, and we'll go ahead and we'll paint it on. And you'll see here that we now have these craters and crevices, and what we can do now is we can put a further one in there, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to take the other half. So select your paintbrush, and let's drag the other half, and we'll connect them, and just like that. And what we can do now is I can take this tile, and we can simply paint as far along as we'd like until we want to create another one. Alrighty. And one thing I noticed here is our tiles are going on top of our ground layer, and we do not want that. So one thing that we can do here is we want to just push them back on that layer. So let's see here. If we look at our midground tile map, we want this to be behind our ground tile map, which is currently in order layer 0. So if I set this back to -1, our midground order should now be behind it, and you can see here it updated. So let's go ahead and continue painting. If I go into my focus here, I can see I have some background elements here. We don't need those, so I'm going to just erase them. All right, and let's go ahead and we'll continue filling in this. Alrighty, so here we go. So now if I wanted to add another cavern, I can just simply do the same process. I can go ahead and I can take this, and we can go ahead and we can add one in here. And if I want to, I can have it even go through the ground. So let's go ahead and do that. So we place one there, and we're gonna go ahead and take another one, and we place it there. So we've creating these midground caverns. And let's go ahead and clear out what's in between here. Okay, so there we go. So we have 3 nice crevices right there. And one of the things we can do as well is let's go ahead and fill in the blue here with the midground for this one. So let's go ahead and take that tile and let's actually paint in here so we have something to fill. All right, so we're on the active tile map here, and I want to be able to see it, so I am going to turn this to none. I'm going to select my paintbrush, and I'm just going to basically fill this in, just like this. And there we go. All right, so in the next video, we're going to create our far caverns.